What is up, guys? Welcome to yet another episode of Kickin with Manny. On today's episode, we are talking about in a relationship, what do people look for? Do people look for looks in a relationship, or are they more about the attitude in a relationship? So we are diving into this conversation, and we are pretty much just having an open conversation talking about everything in the relationship and what people look for and how that can be a positive or a negative thing in the relationship. And on episode today, we have Hannah and we have Makayla. So we are gonna pretty much just talk about this topic and just dive into their thoughts, see what they think about it. Since we are all coming from a different background with a different perspective, we're just gonna have a really open conversation about this topic. So with you, Hannah, if you're in a relationship, what are do you look for? Like, look is like do you consider look as a priority or do you consider attitude as a priority?
Definitely attitude. I think it just says a lot about the person. I don't know. It's hard because I feel like in today's society, people are more worried about looks and how they present themselves to like a group of people rather than what they bring to the table.
I think looks. I mean, when you meet someone for the first time, you look for the looks is what comes first.
Yeah, of course. Like an eye catcher, like something's bound to catch your eye. But I mean, I wouldn't put that as like my number one priority.
Wait, so are we talking about like what will sustain the relationship, or are we talking about like the very first part? So like, because you're not gonna go up to someone if they look like trash.
That is true.
Right? So like, looks are like the number one thing. Like if you're gonna go meet somebody, they'd have to look presentable, because if they don't take care of themselves, they're not gonna take care of you. But like as far as sustaining a relationship, you have to like the way they look first, I think. Yeah.
I mean, so okay, so let's take it. For instance, you meet someone, they look good, but the attitude is not on point. Would you consider retaining the person to see how things could progress, or? I mean, their look is flawless.
Okay, flawless. But what if it's like in that situation, they're like uncomfortable because sometimes you meet somebody for the first time and they're uncomfortable, they're not really who they are, so you kind of have to let them open up to you to judge them in that sense, I believe. That's just my personal opinion and thought. Because
what do you think?
People only get two chances. The first one and the second one. After the second one, you already know enough. Like, you don't have to have any more conversation after that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys are going out to dinner and their attitude's bad right off the bat, like, they can at least pretend for one time. You know what I mean? I think, for me at least, if you know who you are and you are, like, down with yourself, then a person's energy will tell you what you need to know right off of the bat, and intuition is what you should listen to. You shouldn't have to give people multiple chances. If the energy rubs you wrong, then it's gone. You know what I mean?
For me personally, attitude is very important because my one thing that I kind of like grew up, my grandma like taught me this, and it's been in my head since then, that your looks will earn you like the first date and your looks will earn you that like entrance into the person's life, but your attitude will bring you back. Because once you're there, you're like, oh, the person is really good looking and it's really attractive, but once you get to know them a lot more, you're realizing like the attitude is just not working. And in this day and age, I mean, if I feel like on the aspect of relationship, because if you're just dating or if you're just having fun, I mean, you don't really care about their looks their attitude too much. But for me, I just feel like the aspect of a person's looks is eventually going to fade, but attitude may stay. That's one thing I always say. Like for me, if I meet someone for the first time and they are not the most attractive in the way that I will go for, but yeah, their attitude is there, I can oversee that a little bit and be like, okay, I rather have humor, have all that extra stuff, and the attitude plays a role in that. But when it comes to the looks, because looks don't pay the bills. I mean, they pay the bills for some people in certain states.
Well,
but I feel like for me, it's just the attitude aspect is a big thing for me because attitude is what really sustains even dating for the longest time. Like looks is going to be there, but looks is just going to eventually not be the like the value or what people look for. So if you meet someone and their their attitude is not the best, their looks is not the best, it's kind of like 50-50 of both sides. Would you want to give them a go, give them that green light?
Oh, I don't know. That's a rough question because you could always work towards something and get better towards something, only if they're willing to, though.
Yes.
So, I don't know. That's a tough one because I don't know.
I can oversee, I mean, one thing I can say, I can oversee a person's weight.
Mhm.
See, that is fine with me because being a trainer, you can transform the person. So it's not, that's not my problem. My problem is that I just can deal with you. What, with you, let's say, I mean, just hypothetical, you meet the person and whatever, and everything is there, they just don't have the drive, but the looks are flawless. Would you? No, just like no.
No,
Okay.
so before I met my husband, I actually wrote a list out of everything a person had to have. Like, because I wasn't going to put myself in any crazy situations with a guy.
Makes sense.
And so, yeah, I wrote out a list of every characteristic, looks or personality or attitude. And if he didn't have every single one of those things, then it wasn't going to work out. And drive for me and goals and ambition are a huge thing. Because if you're not willing to work on something and you're not willing to put in effort towards your own ambitions and the things that you like, then you're not going to put those things into a relationship. So that was my biggest thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that clears the look aspect. So let's come to, so with the goals aspects, they don't have like the attitude there is not extremely like the best. The attitude is kind of like wishy-washy, not the most, but their looks are like kind of like the same. Would you give them like more options to kind of like, oh boy. Okay.
No.
So with you, what is extremely important? Would you consider someone who doesn't have the looks but have extreme drive and extreme attitude, like good attitude and everything else? Is that the thing for you? So if the person is 300 pounds or 600 pounds life, nothing to show on TV. If the person is 600 pounds, but they have good character, good attitude, good energy, is that a go for you? Because you're a fitness trainer, you can transform them.
Right. So my thing is, if they're willing to put their bodies at a certain point of being 600 pounds, then they really don't have goals and ambition. And and this is going to be extremely offensive, but if you're willing to put your body in that position and allow yourself to get so overweight, and I'm not saying that some people don't have like hormones and everything else that will really affect that, but if you're willing to sit your ass on the couch all day and put the cheeseburgers in, that's not ambition to me. You can do things and have ambition and have a strong work life and be overweight, but it's just, to me, the fitness industry means a lot to me. And so how is somebody going to support my life if they're not willing to support themselves in that aspect? That's just my thought.
Hey, we're all adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are good in bed, extremely good, but the attitude sucks.
You're not getting me in bed if your attitude shit.
Jesus,
Yeah,
why?
it's ugly. Like, what is attractive about that?
Okay, so you prefer someone with good attitude and terrible in bed? Because we're going deeper, so I'm trying to like find all the worst options. Okay, so because I mean, all that comes when it comes to course, when you upgrade from the dating to the relationship level, you've gone into the bedroom aspect already. So when that happens, they're extremely like terrible in bed, like bad. You can't even teach them; they will not know it, but the attitude is good.
But are they willing to learn with that attitude?
You cannot teach them.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they are just, so when I say you cannot teach them, no matter how much you teach them, you let's say, for example, you've taught them for about 6 months, and every single time you're just, man, would you consider that?
No, because they're...
But their attitude is good, though.
I know, but if they could please me, like, like, outside the bedroom, like...
Is that okay for you?
No. I don't think.
Yeah.
Because they gotta keep me happy
Okay.
in the streets and in the sheets.
Okay.
Like...
That's fair. Do you think in this day and age, like where the world is going, how things are going, your life on this earth, do you think in this day and age, there are people who have the attitude, the looks, and the good and bad?
I believe so. I think they're more reserved these days because people take advantage so quickly.
Okay.
I don't think they're openly just going to throw that out at somebody the first time. So it would be something that you have to build up to find out.
So with that, you're going to give them a little bit more time to kind of like prove themselves here and there?
100% would.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. It's good to have some middle grounds. Okay. And with you, do you think with that aspect, like with the same thing with her, she would like want to retain, would you consider retaining a person and giving them like some time to kind of like, cause I mean with you earlier, like, okay, it's not happening. Did I say that yes or no? So with you, would you consider a little bit more time with them to see how things could go?
Yeah, I mean, so with relationships and people, I think, especially this day and age, everything is sex crazed, right? So, I mean, you open up your phone and you have sex so easily accessed to you. You go on the street, sex is so easily accessed. And I think that's why it's such a high priority versus like your personality or your attitude or the way that you look. Obviously, sex is important and we all have needs. But as far as like your attitude and the way that you treat somebody and the way that you carry yourself, if you don't carry yourself in the way that's respectable, especially like from a woman standpoint, if you care about yourself, you're not going to let a man come into your life and then treat you like shit. If you understand your worth and the ethics that you have behind yourself and your being, you don't need a man to tell you anything. And so after a certain point in time and you're like getting to know a guy and he disrespects you or his attitude's just not there, why are you going to keep messing with it? You're not there to fix him. He's got to figure that stuff out on his own, is my thought.
That's a valid point, because I mean I totally agree with you on that, because like this day and age, it's like the easy come easy go type of thing. Like people can just easily get it, so they don't like put in the effort and put in the time. They just whatever could like get the person's attention or whatever. So with just this conversation in whole, if like someone is like listening to this episode and they're like in that stage where they're trying to like build or trying to put himself out there, what would be your best advice for a person like that when it comes to a relationship, if they are potentially in that stage in their life they want to pursue it? What would be your best advice to them?
They have to know who they are first and completely love themselves for everything that they are first and know what they want out of life before they put their effort into somebody else. Because as soon as you understand your worthiness as a human, then nobody is going to come into your life to destroy that. You're not going to allow it. And it also will help weed out the good and the bad a lot faster versus like if you don't know yourself and you're going to love to find worth in yourself.
Nice. Okay. So Hannah, what about you? Like, so if there's someone who is listening to this episode and they are at the stage in their life where they want to like get into a relationship, what would be your best? What would be one thing that you will think they should consider more before even?
My biggest thing is, and I tell myself this all the time, is like literally don't forget who you are. Don't forget that person you worked on for how many ever years you've been working on yourself, and don't fall back into those dark places because it's such an easy habit to fall back into old ways. And I've had to remind myself like several times of that, and it's taken time, and hence why I'm not in a relationship, just because I'm not ready to let anybody take that from me.
Got it. That's an excellent point. And so one more thing, I just wanted us to kind of like cover one more thing, that is partially part of the attitude or the character and the looks part of it. So let's say you have met someone and the chemistry you guys have is good, but the person is extremely bad in bed, would you still pursue that relationship? I mean, chemistry is good, so attitude, everything, character, everything is there, but the bedroom is bad.
Are they willing to learn or willing to try?
I mean, they're willing to see how things could go with you. As far as if they are willing to learn, you wouldn't really know. They're willing to see how far things could go with you. They are willing to kind of like adjust to the changes. But do you think that will be a reason for you to want to stick with them?
I'm kind of like 50-50 on it because I feel like you could help them. Like we were talking earlier, you can coach them through and just, if they're willing to. And the other 50-50 part of me is like, that's like an excuse. I'm not saying I have. It's an excuse for somebody to cheat or do whatever because they're not satisfied in that aspect.
Right.
And I believe sex is like a huge part of your relationship because that's how you can connect on a different level. And so if you're not getting that connection, it's so easy for somebody to leave or do something behind somebody's back.
Right. Okay. And with and for me personally, that per se, for me, I just need to have both. I cannot have 50-50. It's not. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, if the person you've worked on yourself to a certain level, it's like your price has gone up higher, and when you reach that level, you just cannot you don't want to come back. You want to keep upgrading. You don't want to like upgrade, reach an upgrade level, and then keep downgrading back to. And for me, I just feel like if everything has to be like matching, like the standard has to be going up, because if you are terrible in bed,
yeah, like how long can you stay? Like, are you willing to put up with it?
yeah. And for me, I just like that's one of the biggest things that I feel like when it comes to the aspect of relationship, because a lot of people are in relationships right now where they are just like passing time, like technically passing time. I mean, they enjoy each other outside, but when they come into bed, it's like a struggle. And like you said, people use that as a reason to cheat on each other. But I feel like if you are in that place, it is necessary to kind of let's be honest with each other and trying to like find you guys' separate ways, because if it's not gonna change, because the person is just, no matter how much they learn, they cannot get it.
Exactly.
And when that happens, you just cannot coach them enough because you're gonna get tired. Sometimes someone has to cater to you, not you to cater to them. So I just feel like if you reach a certain level in your life where you are pursuing those things, you have to increase your price where people on that same price tag will be able to speak to you. They'll be able to match you, and they'll be able to like, okay, this is a goal for me. And so for me, I feel like that's how I think people should approach things when they are going into a relationship, or even dating. Even if you're not in the dating scene or you are not at the relationship level yet, it is necessary to build yourself up, get to that level, increase your value, your worth to that level where the person, if they are not willing to match the attitude, the character, the bedroom to your level, not just saying it, but I mean, okay, so when I said not just saying, that's something just crossed my mind right now. It just, I don't know, it just stopped just like keep popping up in my head. So if they are at the level where, how do you like, if you are in the dating scene, as far as being good in bed, you would not know until you reach that point with them. Okay, so now considering the fact that if they're not able to change or they are not able to match your price tag or your value, you're not going to give them the chance. With that aspect to see how good they are in the bedroom aspect, do you think you will give them the option? Like, okay, to kind of like, I mean, one test and see if it's a go.
One test.
I mean, it could be 1, 2, 3, whatever you prefer.
I don't feel like you get to know somebody in that one test.
Okay, so you want to go like multiple rounds?
It's not multiple rounds, but like that's like your first time you're like that person is seeing that side of you, and it's like a whole new world. So it takes time to open up and get comfortable. I feel like.
Okay.
So it's not just you feel it that one time. That's how I believe in it like that. But the more times you do, that person's gonna get more comfortable, and then you're gonna find out.
So you think that so having that multiple test drives, you can kind of like, I agree with you to a certain level, because sometimes you have to go through it multiple times to have the person read your body right.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Okay, that's a valid point. Okay, so with you, just give us, give us a little bit more. Give us a little bit more, something to work with. Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Problem
yes.
solved. You have the conversation about your expectations before you even get there.
But some people can play it.
No.
They can play.
You have to just put it out on the table.
Okay.
Because if you're with somebody and you think that you have that emotional connection and things seem to be going well, you guys get along, etc., and you're wanting to be more exclusive, your sexual expectations have to be put out. Your expectations, whether you want kids or not, have to be put out on the table. Rather or not, how you want to live, the type of job you expect, the income, what type of place you want to live in, all of that shit should be put out on the table even before you even consider having sex with that person. Because what if you're like, I need it 20 times a week, and this person's
Hell
like,
yeah. Hell yeah.
and the person you're with is like, I couldn't even do it once, and that being put out on the
It's a
table.
miserable life. It's what it is.
Right, but or like twice a day, or I couldn't even do it twice a week, for example. Like whatever the person says, if you don't already know that about them, you don't even need to get in bed. Just be like, how many times a week? And this person says 20, and this person says once a month. It's not going to work out.
Me, please. Me.
You know what I mean? So if you have that conversation before you even get in bed,
Yeah.
there's a better chance that it will work out, or you can end it there because the thing's not lining up.
Okay.
I don't think you have to sleep with someone to know whether or not sexually it'd work out, because if you guys both talk about your sexual expectations and what you need before,
Okay.
you don't even have to get in bed with them to find out. I mean,
Okay.
let's say you're about to get married years down the road, and you have all of these people that you've slept with in the past.
Take a standard to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, marriage.
You have to match it or not. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, you're about to get married to someone, and you're like, yeah, I've slept with 20 people before you, trying to find the right one. Imagine having to explain that to someone.
Yeah,
because that's the worst conversation that you'd have to have with somebody that you want to be with for the rest of your life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Valid.
especially if you want to be serious with someone at some point.
Right. Okay. So you per se, there was something that crossed my mind with when you were answering this. So let's say you don't have to sleep with the person to determine. Mm-hmm. You see, that is all the bedroom part of it is all part of the conversation. So let's say for me personally, I'm just me. In the past, what you just said, I can turn it around to you and play you very well. That's like way back in my past, this high school, college life. Because, see, a lot of things changes when you grow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things have changed for me years, whatever. But for me, like in my past, I've been in a situation where when you tell me what your expectations are in the past, I take it, I package it, and I give it to you the way you want it to be. When that happens, that can secure the person away into the bedroom once or twice with you. So with what you're saying, I mean, there are human beings out there now like that. I mean, it was just in the past, because there are people who are they're very creative when you share things with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, they want to give it to you the way that you want to hear it. If you are the person, you talk about all these goals 5 times a day, they're like, yep. Everything is good. You check everything. And would you be triggered to allow them, I'll say validated what you want them to, what you want?
I mean, my biggest thing is if you're going to be manipulated by somebody, then
we're in a tough world right now.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes back to your gut feeling and knowing your worth and knowing that initial response to how you feel about something. Because women's intuition is a real thing, man. Like, men don't have it the way we do. No. We know about y'all before.
We have it. We just haven't shown it in the way.
You guys don't have it.
I got you.
But women, we have this thing that tells us yes or no. And if we say yes when our body said no,
it's not good.
It's not good. Okay, cool. Okay, perfect. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Kicking It with Manny, where we're talking about attitude and looks in a relationship. If you have been through a similar experience, please make sure you share your thoughts in the comment section below. Share with me, share with us what your thoughts have been, what your experiences have been, and what has worked for you. I would love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this section. Thank you very much for checking out Kicking It with Manny. And we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this and more episodes coming. Thank you very much, and take care. Peace.